Welcome to Horsefly Chronicles Radio with Julia and Philip Siracusa. Sponsored by Carnation. Airing live on United Public Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. This show's opening has been produced, edited, narrated by Gwen Luckett at gluckett.com.
Everyone, and welcome to Monday night segment of Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We are broadcasting live from the United Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. We know them. You have to do a few things in order to participate and chat. Go to YouTube Paranormal Radio. You can go to all the Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Twitch, SoundCloud, Podbeam, and you can go to our group, Horsefly Chronicles Radio. And if you have any questions for our guests, please ask. Tonight, guys, we're a little late. I apologize for that. Please welcome to the show, John Curley. He is a paranormal investigator and the founder of the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society. They were contacted by Tapp's family and have been a part of that organization for quite some time. They were asked to do the Haunted series on Animal Planet, episodes of Bloody Mary. They have been in documentaries and showcased on Ghost Nation and in magazines, countless broadcasts, and they have done many, many residential cases. So please welcome him to the show.
Welcome.
Thanks, Julie and Phil. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I thank God for our producer, Michelle. She handled that really fast. I don't know what I did, but it was my fault. As usual, it's always my fault. So I'll take the heat on that one. So, John, thanks for coming on tonight. Take us to the beginning of your story. Your paranormal beginning kind of like started, I think, at 15. You saw a UFO in Baltimore. How was this experience from you, and what made it guide you to research the paranormal?
It was a pretty amazing event for me. I was 15 years old. I was just walking down a city street in Baltimore and seen a light, like this bright blue incandescent light above a tree, right, a couple thousand feet above a tree. It was kind of pulsing in and out, this blue, really brilliant blue light. And I think it might have been moving at one point. I kind of caught it as a stop. I just never took my eyes off of it, and I'm glad I didn't, because if I would have looked away and looked back, it would have been gone. But as I'm looking at it, I was walking with my cousin, and I reached over to him, but I never took my eyes off of it. And I was like, hey, look at that. When I pointed at it, it got real bright, and then and then it took off. It was like out of sight in less than a second. It went thousands of miles, and like less than a second, didn't see it anymore. And if I would have just looked away and looked back, it would have just been gone. I would have never seen it take off, which was the takeoff was unbelievable. No conventional aircraft we had could withstand any kind of G-force like that. It would be like liquid. It took off so fast. And from that point on, I was like, aliens are real, UFOs are real. There's this paranormal stuff out here that we don't understand, and it kind of guided me into the paranormal field. I started reading books on UFOs and started getting into like Bigfoot, because back then,
Oh,
the Patterson Gimlin video was out of Bigfoot, and it just was really fascinating. The whole thing kind of connects to paranormal wise. So,
mhm,
I was just like, wasn't really thinking about ghosts or anything at first, just reading on UFOs and Bigfoots and like Loch Ness Monster, things like that. Um, Radio shows, TV shows back then, there wasn't a whole lot about, paranormal things. So you had like In Search of, That's Incredible, things like that. Those shows, when the ghost shows came on, they were really cool to me, and it really started piquing my interest into paranormal things. So it wasn't until started having kind of weird things. There was weird things that happened at my grandfather's house, and later on, we all kind of had this feeling that maybe the house was haunted. And as we got older, it was elaborated to us that the house was haunted. And my grandmother, they thought my grandmother haunted the house, and
mhm,
a couple family members had seen my grandmother in the home. I never seen her, but you did get this really uneasy feeling, like someone was watching you. And
mhm,
from that point on, I just started really getting into the paranormal, and watching movies like The Entity, the Amityville Horror, things like
mhm.
that, and really started piquing my interest in the paranormal things until I got into my 20s. And I kind of lost my way with it until I moved out of Baltimore and moved into Pennsylvania, and I moved close to Gettysburg. So Gettysburg was kind of like the launching point for my paranormal kind of career, not a
Mhm.
career, but this hobby that I do, and investigating the Gettysburg battlefield. Going on the battlefield and experiencing paranormal things was never thought that I would experience things that I did. And sure enough, I started picking up voices on the battlefield on recording devices, and gunfire, phantom cannon fire, men screaming, yelling, things like that on recordings. And there was nobody there. And I'm like, this stuff's real. Like, there's this phenomena that is out there that I really can't explain.
Oh, wow. That's always the way it starts, though. I mean, something has to happen that really kind of like perks our interest, and then we just dive right into it full force.
Yeah, yeah.
Phil, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
think it's interesting how he had that UFO sighting and it led him into the field of paranormal. I hear that story quite often. A lot of different
Yeah.
people. And I believe there's a connection there between aliens and demons. How? I don't know, but there's something there with that as well.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, I
there's
think
huge
so.
connection. There's a big
I don't
connection.
think the alien is a demon. Well, look, I mean, there's so many different races of aliens, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, allegedly. I'd tell you one thing. It's an interesting thing because a lot of clients that I talk to, I kind of do this little survey with them, and I ask them, have you ever experienced a UFO event along with the paranormal things that are happening in their home? And probably 85 to 90% of them say they have. They've
Yeah.
experienced some kind of
Yeah,
UFO event. So there's some kind of correlation between UFO and paranormal things, I think,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I definitely agree with that.
So in 2006, you created your team, HAPS, and then connected to TAPS family. Where did this adventure take you?
It was pretty cool. We just, we created the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society in 2006. Me and the co-founder Don Frank. Uh, just on a, we did. There wasn't a whole lot of paranormal groups out there, so we just started like a paranormal meetup, and it create. We kind of created the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society from that meetup,
Oh,
and we started. I said, well, if we're going to do this, then let's build a website and try to generate people to the website to get cases and things like that, because we really wanted to get into the part of helping people try to understand the phenomena that really we didn't understand ourselves, and we still don't. But we were trying to at least try to get in to validate claims of paranormal paranormal activity and give them an answer, give them some kind of validation that you are experiencing this paranormal phenomena. You're not going crazy, because a lot of people are thinking they're having psychological issues. They're hearing voices in houses, seeing things moving around, footsteps, things like that. And sometimes it can only affect one person in the house. So,
Yeah.
they think they're having some kind of psychological issue, and us coming in validating the claims of paranormal phenomena were important. And that's what we wanted to do. So I designed a website, and we started generating cases like right away. And not long after that, the Taps family sent us an email saying, "Hey, we like the things you're doing. We like your website. Would you be interested in joining the Taps family? And we're going to generate cases to you that come to us, so you can get out there and start helping us with some of our caseload." Because that's when Taps really Ghost Hunters show came out, and cases were really like jumping off the charts, and we got so busy that every weekend we were doing maybe like 2 or 3 cases in a weekend. So we had to break up. It really got really hard to do all the evidence review from this case to that case. It really got hard, and more people started to join other paranormal teams started joining the TAPS family. But from that point on, it really got extremely busy from then until now.
You've been doing this for so many years. I want to ask this question. I don't really ask it a lot. Being a paranormal investigator and doing the cases that you've done, does it affect your family life?
Yes, yeah, definitely. You spend a lot of time. Like, I spend a lot of time in this room right here, just going over evidence late at night. And then I get up early in the morning, go to work. So yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time just in this little room, these 3 or 4 walls here, just going over review
Yeah.
and things like that. But then you also got to worry about whether these things are going to follow you home, and
Right. That's why I
you
was going with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
experience phenomena in your house, which I've had happen quite a few times. It didn't last for the activity never lasts for a long period of time, but it does happen from time to time. We could get knocking on the doors or the walls or the windows, or even our bedroom doors. Sometimes we get knocking on it, and no one there. So
Yeah.
it's in here. Disembodied voices in here as well. I've heard them several times in the house saying my name. I was actually talking to Phil one time and heard a woman say my name in this room, and I was like, what the hell?" It was right before I was getting ready to talk to Phil, probably like 20 minutes before.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was crazy.
yeah,
Do you have to do you think like some of these cases you have to discuss with your family before you actually go work it? Because
they
it could be bad.
they never want to hear about it. Really,
Yeah.
my wife doesn't want to hear about it. My daughter's like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. So my daughter's in way at college and stuff like that. So she doesn't bother with it at all. She gets freaked out sometimes. She's come in my bedroom a couple of times, like feeling like something was in her room when she was a teenager. She's like, "There's something in the room, Dad." So I had to go in there and sleep in there, and she would sleep with my wife or something like that. But I never had anything happen. But sometimes in this room, my daughter's bedroom is above it, and sometimes I would hear these loud crashes and like something that fell over, and no one would be home but me, and I would go up there and nothing had fallen over, or it would sound like something big fell over, and I go up there, the door would be shut, nothing fell over. It's really weird, and there's no pipes that run through there. So
Do you think these things have followed you home on some cases, or is it your house?
no, I think definitely something followed me home, without
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I never had any activity here before. I moved here, so and I've lived here for 25 years. So I never had anything happen here until I started investigating, and I've been investigating probably since I've started living here. So yeah.
So I want to talk about your residential cases, and we were talking about this before, and the question was, has there been a case that you've worked on that really left a mark on you and your team? And what do you have? And what do you do when you take on cases? Like what is like what do you do? Do they have to go through any kind of process first?
Yeah, there's been one case, maybe two cases that I'm actively working on that I've been working on for years. One in 2011 in Ephrata, PA, and one in 2014 that in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Um, the one in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, is probably a lot more severe than the one in Ephrata. Um, it was involved. We were contacted through these people, this family, through the Taps family, and it's about 4.5 hour drive from my place to Newcastle, and we went up there in, I believe it was November of 2014, and we did our first investigation, and we did the investigation, and it was really quiet. Like we listened to all the claims of activity, and it was a lot. But when we did the investigation, it was really quiet. Like we didn't have any kind of personal experiences or anything like that. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. Uh, it was really quiet for us the entire night. We did find a Ouija board in the home, and they did say that they all played with the Ouija board as a family, like a game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh,
the reports with Ouija boards and portals and things like that. I've messed with Ouija boards in the past just as an investigator to see if they work. I never had anything happen with them, but I think it's a particular individual that
mm-hmm.
These things are attracted to through the board itself, because I never really had anything happen with them, but they did. Um, but we didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary the first case, but we did see the Ouija board. We looked at it. We brought it out. We didn't get on it, but we looked at it. We were discussing it, and little did we know we were catching things as we were talking about the Ouija board. We were talking about it, and we're catching disembodied voices on the second floor. And one of them said, "I'll kill his kids." Really clear disembodied voice. We captured it on 6 different recording devices and on a camera that we had stationary. And man's voice. There was no one on the second floor. It was only 3 investigators, and we were all on the first floor. And you just hear this really creepy man's voice, like, "I'll kill his kids," in the camera. So we never even knew we caught it until we went home and started reviewing the evidence. And Carl called me and said, "Hey man, I caught a really disturbing kind of voice in the camera." And we heard it. We're like, "Oh wow, that's never heard a ghost say it was going to kill somebody or a spirit or whatever these things are." It was a little disturbing. So we went back and presented the evidence to them, and they were like, the husband's a pretty big guy, probably 6'3". He was a bodybuilder at one time, so he was a big guy. And he's like, "I'm not worried about anything. They're not gonna run me and my family out of here." I was like, "That's fine." I said, "I'm just telling you what we caught. This is what we got. It's kind of disturbing. Definitely want to keep an eye on your family. If you decide you want to move, it might not be a bad idea, because all the phenomena they were experiencing, from kids crying in the home, stuff mimicking their voices. They were seeing full-bodied apparitions of this woman in black, like all black with a black veil with no face. Really creepy stuff." And we presented the evidence, and they were kind of like, "Thank you for validating some of our stuff." And I said, overall, we didn't have any experiences that night, but we did catch these voices in our recording devices. We didn't catch anything on video. We did catch the voices though, and the EVPs and stuff. So they were like, "Okay, if we want you to come back, we'll contact you." I'm figuring, maybe they were disappointed, but nothing personal happened to us. And I get a call probably 2 months later that their youngest daughter passed away in the attic from a sudden heart attack. And I was blown away. Me and Carl were both blown away. I called him. I was like, "You're not even going to believe it," but the youngest daughter passed away. She was 14 years old, and that's like one of the few cases, the only case that I've ever been involved in that someone passed away in, and it was a child. This is something that I'll never forget that ever in my life. I don't know many investigators that have experienced that, but it ain't nothing that anyone would really want to experience, to have a client calling you talking about their 14-year-old passed away, and they're crying on the phone to you, and it gets you upset. You're crying, they're crying. So I mean, it's a pretty sad thing, to experience. And a lot of people say that these things can't hurt you, but I beg to differ. I think they can definitely hurt you, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then they can take, like we were talking about, maybe a little medical problem that they've had and, just escalate it, or even cause something medical.
Yeah. She was diagnosed with with an undiagnosed heart problem after, I think they did autopsy on her, and she did have an undiagnosed heart condition. But the thing was kind of messing with her the most. And can someone be scared to death?
Yeah.
Most definitely. Can it cause a heart condition and a heart attack to happen? Oh yeah, definitely. She would wake up with this face above hers, in her bed and things like that. And there was one occasion where they called me, and I could hear her yelling in the background. The lights are going on and off in the attic, and she slept in the attic. So yeah, I was just like, get the hell out of the attic, like, don't go back in the attic. But that was her bedroom. So, yeah.
Horrible.
That's some scary stuff. Ouija boards are, it's just a board, but the intent, I know firsthand, can bring things that are unnatural. I have people questioning, oh, it's fake. Yeah, the board is just a board, yes. But those spirits and entities know what that thing is.
Yeah.
And they know once you open that door with that board, we're coming in. And like you said, you use it, maybe nothing happens. When another person uses it as a conduit, all of a sudden, here goes the lights and the voices and I've seen it. Oh, I've seen it about 50 times. I try to rule it out in the bucket. It's real. It's a real thing that can cause a phenomenon. My question to you is, you're a seasoned paranormal investigator. What percentage of the brain do we use?
Yeah.
No, did you hear my question?
Oh, I'm sorry. It kind of broke up.
What percentage of the brain do we use?
We use like 10% of our brain.
10%. That's correct. That's correct. Is it possible that we are opening up that extra 20-30% of our brain to acknowledge another realm that we don't even know that it's us, bringing in our senses and our sensory of what's going on around us?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we all have that intuitive thing in our brain that we connect to these paranormal things. Kind of like when you go into a place that's haunted and everything seems normal, then all of a sudden you get the goosebumps and the hair stand up on your arms, and all of a sudden the atmosphere changes, and that there's something there with you. You can't physically see it, but it's changing the atmosphere around you, and you can feel this change that whether it's mentally or physically, you're experiencing both mentally and physically. So yeah, I definitely think that there's something that happens paranormal wise where you're opening up different parts of your brain that you're able to communicate with these things, and they're able to communicate with you.
I agree with that. The more I think about it as an investigator myself, the more I believe that we're using a part of the brain that we don't even understand yet. And look at the people that telekinesis and telepathy. There's just so many different formats that we can use our brain on that we're able to make communication with these things. People with psych abilities to communicate with the other side. So I think it's that what you said is true, that when you investigate, it's somehow you can feel their atmosphere in a way where it's kind of like they're taking you into their realm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's been times where I've been in places where I felt perfectly fine. Didn't feel weird. It felt like a normal house. But then, you know, it doesn't feel normal anymore. And then that's when you start hearing the disembodied voices. You start hearing noises. You start, temperature changes and things like that. And that's the presence of this paranormal phenomena that it's really on a level that we can't comprehend yet. I mean, we know it's there, but it's on a level that we really don't understand. In 50 years of paranormal investigations, throughout 50 years, there's still not an answer to anything. We know it exists, but there's no way to really physically test the phenomena because it's so unpredictable. You never know when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. It just happens, and you're just like, okay, I just heard a disembodied voice. What condition happened to make that disembodied voice happen? You know what I mean? What made that happen? Okay, we're asking questions. We're opening up a line of communication between us and whatever this thing is. Is it a ghost? Is it a demon? Is it something interdimensional? I don't know. I think it's a mixture of all different things, like some of the stuff we encounter in these investigations. I think maybe some of them are people that have passed on this life after the physical body's gone, the subconscious mind that lives on. Without a doubt, I think it's the subconscious mind does live on. How? I have no idea. Energy, possibly, I really couldn't give anybody a definitive answer to it, but I do know it exists without a doubt. But there are these other things, these dark things that, what are they? Are they demons? Are they extraterrestrial? And they throw off a different kind of energy, this dark energy that, I've recorded on video. I've recorded it. It's a dark energy, a black energy that creates itself from nothing and disappears into nothing. It's really an incredible phenomenon.
Scary too, I might add. Has there ever been a test done, in your knowledge, where an investigator, paranormal investigator, has had their brain sensories checked at the time of an investigation, where they can check the brain waves and see exactly what's happening?
Not that I know of. I know Dr. Barry Taff and was trying to do something like that at the UCLA lab in Los Angeles, but that lab got closed down many, many years ago. But they were trying to test telekinesis, psychic abilities, all that at the UCLA lab, but the government shut it down. Why the government shut it down? There it is. They were coming on. They were coming into something that the government didn't want anyone to really know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think happened with that, and that's why they shut it down, because it was governmentally funded, and that was it.
What a shame.
Yep.
What a shame.
Very interesting, the topic. It's becoming more accepted today that paranormal phenomenon does exist, which it does, and UFOs and aliens are real.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, welcome to the century here. And we're just trying to get closer, right, as investigators, to find out the missing answers that we've never really received. Like people would say, a skeptic would say, why doesn't the ghost just appear on film in front of everybody? Everyone could see it instead of knocking on a wall. What's your answer to that?
That's the big question. Why can't it come up and show itself? Why can't it give us a definitive answer of, is there something else after you die? I have no idea. They give you little snippets of things that, hey, we do exist. And like some of the EVPs, they're on a hertz level way beyond what we can hear with the human hearing range, but we pick them up on the recording devices because they're recording below a hertz level that we can't hear with the naked ear. Anything below 20 hertz is beyond human hearing range. And sometimes, a lot of times in EVPs, when you put it on a spectrogram, the EVPs are coming in below 20 hertz, but below what a human can even speak. We can't even speak below 20 hertz. And we can only hear between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. And these things are coming in well below 20 hertz. They don't even register on a spectrogram. So what the hell is it? I mean, you're talking like on a hearing range that animals and stuff can hear on and not humans. So how are they doing it?
He just said something, Joel. He said animals and not humans, and he harped on something there because there was a study done on cats and how cats have the ability to see the other side of entities coming through. There's a big study on that where they're bringing cats now to these haunted locations, and the cat looks in certain areas. And they get very strange and on the attack mode. I think it's fascinating that they're doing this.
Yeah, my daughter is living in an old house. I think 1800s. She's living in Epic College, and her cat is. Well, we had paranormal things happen when we were moving her in. They had a couch that was blocking the door. My wife was on the other side, and me and my daughter were in the room, and the door handle was moving, and we thought my wife was trying to come through. And I'm like, "There's a couch there, you can't come through." So my daughter's like, "Mom, stop trying to come through the door." And my daughter went around the corner, and she was sitting on the far couch, and she goes, "I'm trying to come through the door." And my daughter would come back, and she goes, "Oh my God, that door was moving." I said, "The handle was moving." She goes, "Yeah." I said, "That was that handle right there. It was moving." But she said her cat locks one of the things in the room, like stuff that's not there, and she'll just like follow it. And she's like, "What are you looking at?" And the cat will be following it and start hitting like that. So yeah, animals, their perception to pick these things up is really, really good. Dogs, cats especially. Yeah.
I never really knew that. I never thought that before. That cats are, I think, a little bit more than dogs might be. I mean, all animals are, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think these things definitely use sound waves and ambient noises. We catch these EVPs on just us talking back and forth. I think they use our reverberal noises to somehow harness and communicate and develop sentences and things like that. I mean, the physical body's gone, but somehow these things are able to produce sentences and memories. And I mean, these things are, these people are remembering their past life. They know their names. I've had plenty of them say their names. That's telling you.
I think it has to do with the person who's acting too. I mean,
yeah,
they're going to talk to who they want to talk to, I think.
Yeah, I think everybody's set on a certain vibration. So some people's vibrations are higher than others, and these things are able to distinguish these people's higher vibrations, and they're the ones that they communicate with the most. It's like I go in a lot of places, and I get a lot of activity more than most of the people that I'm with. Yeah. And they're like, "How are you hearing these things?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I just hear them." You know what I mean? And they're like, because I'll be walking and I'll hear a voice or something. I'll say, "Did you hear that?" And they're like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And I play it back, and there it is. It's recorded. And they're like, I can't explain it. I know that people are on this vibration, and I think these things just pick them up. The people with a higher vibration, they pick it up and they communicate with them better.
I agree with that 100%.
What do you think about Halloween and how the kids dress up in the scary costumes, which we've all done? It's fun, right? Yeah. But do you think that also that entices the spiritual world in some format?
It's definitely like a format of paganism. So, can it produce some kind of phenomena or something? It may. I don't know. I've investigated on Halloween plenty of times in places, and sometimes it was active, sometimes it wasn't. Just like moon phases as well. I did a study on moon phases, and people always say it's the best activity at a full moon. And
True.
I've investigated on a full moon, and different times, and the activity varied between different full moons. So I don't know. I had a chart. I did have a chart plotted on the different full moons and the different investigations, and the activity varied throughout all the moon phases. So sometimes at a full moon it was active, sometimes it wasn't. And I was able to investigate a house for a couple years, and I kind of plotted out the different moon phases because I was really interested in that. And it was really inconsistent. There were times when it was active at a full moon, then there was other times it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well,
I definitely agree with that.
yeah. Sometimes it was, and sometimes it wasn't. And then, like, sometimes at a waxing moon, it was active, and then it wasn't. It was so unpredictable, the phenomena. It was really weird.
Has anyone on your team ever got a really bad attachment?
Me and Carl, I think that's about it. Like, ever since we've done the Newcastle case, we've had some really weird things happen that were actually associated with that case. With them seeing the woman in black, we did another case, and that family was seeing the same woman, and then we had things happen at our house, and he had things happen at his house, Carl's house. So he was seeing the shadowy figure in his house, and
wow,
cabinets open up on their own, these weird light shows in his room. Just a lot of weird things have happened since we did that case. Like, now every time I don't know, it seems like when you come into something negative, and you're trying to help, it's like something tries to stop you from going back. Every time I've tried to go back, to this case, something happens and it gets canceled. They cancel, or something just weird happens and we don't go back.
Yeah.
And it's just really strange. It's like whatever's in there doesn't want us to come back. It's sent out definitely quite a few warnings too. It's kind of weird, really weird.
We know
Disturbing
that
a little
quite
bit.
well. We know that quite well. I mean, that's happened here. I can't even tell
Yeah, it's
you
weird.
how many times we've
It's
had.
kind of like they know. Yeah, they know they want certain people away. They don't want them. And maybe because those people can get closer to answers on certain locations, and they know how to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I've had two cases like that. It was the Ephrata case and that case, and every time. Now the Ephrata is more on maybe close to maybe a possession or something. Just a lot of weird things has happened in this case. That's where I captured a black mass in the house coming out of the closet and manifesting across the room, showing up. I captured that on video for like 15 minutes straight of this thing appearing, disappearing. And it's really intelligent. And the first time I went there, this sister was really nice to me, really very nice. And I went back again, and this time she had changed, and she was real gothy looking, and her attitude had totally changed. And it was weird, like almost like, and she was talking to me really disrespectfully, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's really going on here. I had left the cameras in there for a week, and we're trying to record this thing again because we captured this on our first investigation. And they had went on vacation, and I had the house for a week, so I was recording in the house for a week to see if we could capture this thing again, which we didn't. But when I came back, she was totally changed. Her whole attitude, her whole looks, everything was different. And she definitely didn't want me there. And it kind of switches from family member to family member. It'll affect one family member for a certain period of time, and then it goes to another one, and then it goes to another one. It kind of like it shifts around the house to who it's going to isolate and do things to, which is really creepy. And when I was in there, I sat in that very closet where the black thing appears and comes out of, and sure enough, I got poked in the back by something like really hard, and I jumped up out of the chair. And I was like, "Wow, man! Like something really just poked me in the middle of my back really hard." And I kind of verbalized, did you poke me in the back? Asked it a question, and in the recording, you hear a voice say, "You would know." And I'm like, wow. Oh, wow, that's like really, really intelligent. Yeah. And it would say things like biblical that was creepy. At one point it said, I thirst. And it really creeped me out because I heard it out loud. It was a disembodied voice. And it's like, I thirst. And I was like, Danny, you hear that? And they're like, no. I was like, I just heard a voice say something like I thirst or something like that. And I said, that's kind of creepy. And they're like, why? I was like, because it's biblical. And they, what do you mean? I was like, well, Jesus said that on the cross before he died. He said, I thirst. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you never read the Bible. You better read that's in the Bible. And they're like, oh, wow. But it's really creepy. I just don't know what's in there. It's something not good. I don't think it's good at all. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a demon. I've never seen a demon, but maybe it's on that level of possibly, I don't know many people that, have seen demonic things in cases, you know what I mean? Well, nowadays everybody sees them, and, it's, you go on Facebook, everybody's, been in a demonic case, and I'm just like, I've been doing it for 25 years and I've never been in a demonic case ever. I've seen people acting like they were possessed and things like that, but, the validation part of them being really possessed, there was no supernatural phenomena going on to claim their possession.
Well, you know what? That's twofold. I'm going to tell you why. Because we're the puppets. You see, we think we're intelligent beings, but we're not. And when you're talking about demons and things that have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, since the beginning of time, well, don't you think for one second, the way I had to come to realization is that, who will wait? We're nobodies. Not one human on this earth has the intelligence to tell the difference between a possession and a non-possession. Why? Because we basically go off biblical signs that we think are true. Do we know the difference between schizophrenia and possession? We don't.
No,
I ask that question to many guests around the world. What is the difference between a person having schizophrenia and know they say, we don't know. We don't know. And the bullshit artists who say, well, I have an answer. Well, you're full of shit to begin with because you don't have an answer. Yeah. You don't know because you're human and we don't know that knowledge. So, 2 minutes back into the show when we were talking about how these spirits can stop you from going to a location without you even realizing that you're not going.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think for 1 second that if a person's possessed, that the demon knows how to trick the person who's trying to get that devil out of him? Just like in the movie Conjuring 2, when he was leaving with his wife. Good movie, by the way. And they're on the train, I believe, and he's playing the recording, and then he gets it. He's like, wait a second. The voice is being masked by something else, only to go back there and find out it is a demon. So what I'm trying to say is that we think we have the answers, including myself, but we don't.
No,
we don't. We see these cases and these mass suicides and these mass murderers are out there and these serial killers, and that all goes back to something is wrong with them. They were seeing doctors. They had mental conditions. But maybe, just maybe, there's underlying conditions of something going on there that is malevolent that we're just not picking up. And that's causing all the mayhem. I look around the world today. The world is in chaos. I bet that if you were out right now in the Middle East doing investigations, I guarantee you'd pick up voices that were very, very evil towards mankind, making people destroy each other. Because that's what it ultimately wants, right? The devil's not here to play nice and jump rope, destroy mankind, right? and we see it all around us, but we only pick it up through what we think we know. But we don't pick it up through the realization of, wait a second, it's trying to trick me and all of us and deceive us.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely think that something demonic is going to attack you psychologically more than anything.
Yes.
I think probably one of the best movies I've ever seen with going into demonic possession would be Nefarious. That movie is really, really good. I thought it's probably one of the best movies ever made dealing with demonic possession because the demon attacks the the psychologist mentally. It's playing a total mind game with him, mixing lies with the truth, and it's a really great movie. I thought it was put together really well. Probably one of the few movies that I've liked dealing with demons and things like that because
what was the name of it?
It's called Nefarious.
Nefarious?
Joe, I don't think we've seen that. We have to see that.
No.
That's probably one of the best movies you're ever going to see when it comes to demonic possession.
No. How come I never heard of this?
And it's not like, the head spinning around, and it's a total psychological thing that the devil is, this demon is producing. And it is a great, great movie. Probably one of the best movies I've ever seen dealing with demonic
definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Look at the unfortunate event that happened a few days ago with that guy in Maine killing all those people. Yeah, and then they say that he was hearing voices in his head and that he was seeing a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that, again, that's horrible, that's disgusting. But I think that as an investigator, myself and the teams around the world, I think we need to get closer to also being part of a psychologist and see what's going on with people, right? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I would agree.
What's going on behind your door? That why do you need help? What are you hearing? We only use 10% of the brain, so we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And we do know that malevolent spirits do roam the earth. We do know this.
Oh, that's a fact.
So then who are we to say who's possessed and who's not? Who's going to start killing and who's not? Who are we to say that? And why do some people snap so quick, and intelligent people too?
Yeah, I mean,
intelligent people, they snap so quick against other people and take their lives. There has to be more research into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think schizophrenia and possession might be closely associated. A lot of people that are associated with schizophrenia or have could be these demonic kind of things. You know what I mean? We don't know. That's the thing with psychology. You know what I mean? That even the Catholic Church has hired psychologists and professional psychologists to diagnose possessions, and in some cases, these possessions. I did see a documentary. A really famous psychiatrist. I forgot his name. But I seen it and I watched it, and it was interesting because the psychologist, who was total non-believer in demonic possession, he was just here to diagnose, whether these people were schizophrenic, psychological issues, and some of the things that were happening were beyond psychological. They were on a paranormal realm that he couldn't understand. There was a woman that was allegedly possessed, and he was supposed to meet this woman the next day, and like 3:00 in the morning, his cats went ballistic in his house, just started tearing the house up. And him and his wife were laying in bed like, what the hell is going on? Like, these cats are like destroying the house. So he didn't really think of anything of it. The next day he goes and sees this woman that is possessed. And as soon as he walks into the room, the woman says, how'd you like the cats last night? Now, how in the hell could that woman have known what the cats are doing in his apartment at 3:00 in the morning?
I got a question. I don't mean to interrupt you. I got a question on the bottom. So, and I can't pronounce his name, Quan Lee. So we're going to blame demons for the killings now. Well,
You know what? No, we're not blaming every kid. Look, people are bad by nature, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you're listening to the show, listen to this very carefully. If you're intelligent, um, what John Curley said in the beginning of the show is about this black mass that appeared and disappeared, and he's correct because I've seen that myself in my own home. That black mass, to my knowledge, what I've dealt with is not good, and it knows how to make you feel a negative vibration of oppression.
Yeah.
Therefore, if we're capturing that in just these small fragments of time during investigations, what do you think is actually happening on things we're not investigating?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in that very house where the black mass, we recorded that, there is a big oppression in the house, and it manifests physically to the family, like they all get physically sick, like they get broken down physically, and they all become sick. They've been in and out of the hospital. Their children in and out of the hospital. The husband goes into a drunken rage, and he's never been an alcoholic ever. This guy was the nicest guy you ever want to meet in your life, and now all of a sudden he's a raging alcoholic.
Wow.
These things do affect people psychologically, and it changes their whole psyche. It changes everything about them, and not a lot of people, know that, or experienced it. I've seen it, in maybe one case, and in that case, that's it. That maybe I could say that there is possibly something possession-wise going on in that house, and demonic influence, maybe, this negative influence that, without a doubt in my mind. That's probably one of the few cases that I've experienced that there is a negative presence in the house, and well, it's not going to go away easy. It's not going to go away. There's no cure for this stuff. People always say, "Oh, you throw holy water, anointment oils. It's going to go away." It's not going to go away like that. These things are way more advanced than we really know. And I love when I see online and they got these people, they're demonologists and they're this and they're that. Oh, we're going to get rid of it. I doubt it highly. I'm guaranteeing you're not going to get rid of it. There's no way. We don't understand it. How are you going to get rid of something that you don't understand?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And we both have a mutual friend, Bill Bean, who has an incredible story himself of how he lived and what we went through. Some of these things we just don't know. We don't know. And that's why you're right. Not everything is a demon. We don't know. Where does that black mass come from? We don't know what's going on and why it's doing what it's doing and how it oppresses people and the energy around you. You only know when you experience it. But then again, who knows how people are experiencing differently? It's kind of, Joel, what's that movie with that we watch where they have to get ready away from the wind? Mark Wahlberg. They have to get ready away from the wind.
The Happening. Yep.
The Happening, right? Now picture you see a black mass, and it's not the wind, it's the black mass coming towards you. There's the similarities, it's a movie, but this is what we're trying to say, is that we don't know what we're dealing with. We really don't know. And anyone who thinks they have a magic wand, you better recheck it, recharge it, because I haven't seen it work yet.
No, me either. I see it online every day, and we can get rid of them. I'm like, I doubt it very highly. I've been in lots of blessings, and the activity never stopped. It either decreased a little bit in volume, but then it would come back in a lot of intensity, and people would have to move, and if you move, who's to say it's not going to follow you? It could follow you, without a doubt. We don't understand the phenomena. You know what I mean? Like that's what I try to educate people with paranormal investigating is, do I have an answer to it? I don't. I come into it to validate your experiences. Can I get rid of it? Absolutely not. I'm not even on the level understanding what the phenomenon is. I know it exists, and I record it and I capture it on video and audio, but to tell someone that I can get rid of something that I really don't understand, and no one really understands it, that's the thing. We don't understand it, and it's unpredictable.
I agree.
And, we just
totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's why
you have more questions.
I like him because he's honest, and he's like us, Joe. He tells it the way it is. I don't have the answers. I ain't no expert. I just know that no one knows what the hell they're talking about we don't know what we're dealing with. We just don't know.
No. No.
Okay.
No. I'd say people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joel. I say a lot of people, say, you experience a paranormal event and they're like, oh, well, that was just a disembodied voice, or, it was just an EVP. That's pretty fascinating. To hear a voice project out of thin air, and you can't see it at all. You can't physically touch it at all, but it can touch you. It can communicate with you, and there's no one there that you can't physically see. That's pretty amazing to me in itself, and there's some people, that was just an EVP or something. Dude, that's an amazing event. You just experienced a paranormal event that's unexplainable. You heard a voice manifest from nothing, and it's communicating with you directly. You've opened yourself up to a lot of communication to what it is. I don't know. Is it a spirit from someone that passed on? Possibly. It's a great unknown. It's the great unknown. It really is.
It really is. And like I said, it just we end up with more questions than answers, and we just keep doing what we're doing and keep studying the paranormal.
You know what I think? I think that seasoned paranormal investigators should work closer with psychiatrists. It should be accepted by psychiatrists and some patients to see exactly what's going on with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. I've reached out to a couple and, I never got a response. Never got a response from them. And I've emailed their office and everything. Never got a response. Like, they don't want to deal with the whole paranormal, just like scientists don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the paranormal phenomenal level of it. It's like, oh, that doesn't exist. Science says it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, science is full of it. Because science said that UFOs didn't exist. Meanwhile, I've seen on the news every week about a different craft. Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC. Now, TikTok Live, you're seeing people say, hey, what is this? It's not us. Nothing can move that fast that we have in any part of the world. The G-force alone will destroy you. So, so there's your science right there. That's why we need more seasoned investigators working closer with science. It should be more accepted. Don't you agree?
100%. It shouldn't be a pseudoscience. It should be part of science.
I agree.
The phenomena exists. It's real. Thousands and thousands of people experience it every day. Not like it's just one thing that's happening, here or there. Every day, someone's experiencing paranormal phenomena in a home, a location somewhere, anywhere. So it's a real thing. And I got into it to disprove it originally, but now, it's like you can't disprove it. There's this phenomenon that exists, and, it's not going anywhere. It's been here for thousands and thousands of years, and it's going to be here long after we're gone. We're going to be a part of it one day. So, and we are a part of it. It's a part of nature. People say it's supernatural, and I don't think it's supernatural at all. It's natural. It's a part of what we are, our existence.
Yeah.
It's a part of everything we are, everything we are. We just don't understand it. And that's the problem, is we think we understand it, but we don't. We don't have a clue. We really don't.
We're coming to the end of the show. John, you have been an amazing guest. Stuff.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. It was so much fun.
Where can everybody find you?
You can go to our website, www.harrisburgareaparanormal.com. We're on Facebook, the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society. We're on Twitter, Instagram, you name it, we're on there. Just Google us and you'll find us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hey, John, really thank you for coming on. Seriously, like you are a lot of knowledge, and we're on the same page of how paranormal investigating going forward should be worked out to help people. So thank you so much for that. And Julie, wrap it up.
Okay, well, special thank you to Carnation for fully sponsoring the show from day one. We love them. Thank you so much. Please join us next week on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. Thank you, John, for joining us tonight. Everybody have a great night. And I'm going to see if I can play something at the end for our network, if I can find it. There it is. Thank you so much, John. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.